What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2. And while, as y'all know, the F1 cars did get that handling update recently, so I would say these are definitely going to be a hot topic. And in this video, I do want to take a look at the Red Bull RB14 Disruption Edition. I'm still trying to actually figure out the key differences with both of these cars here, which, looking at both of them, I would say the biggest thing is probably going to be the liveries and or color choice on the tires. And I also did notice the top speed of this vehicle is 271, and then the regular RB14 is going to be 268 miles per hour, which by the way guys is going to be the base top speed of the vehicle. So if you guys are running a Nitrochemist set, it's definitely going to be faster than that. But looking at this car though, I can definitely say a lot of people are probably going to be trying out the other F1 vehicles now after this handling update. I also have to admit that many of these cars do seem to be a lot better than they used to be when it comes to handling, which I really do think a lot of people are most likely tired of seeing the Expo everywhere. There's also going to be an argument saying that car is not really an actual F1 vehicle, but nonetheless, guys, the Disruption Edition is definitely going to be a pretty sweet looking F1 car. And by the way, guys, let me know in the comments below that weird like U-shaped like wishbone thing where the guy sits in the cockpit. I do believe that was added for like accidents and stuff in the newer cars, but let me know in the comments below. I honestly don't follow F1 tremendously that often, so I do want to actually know why those were on the vehicles because the RB13 doesn't actually have that. And by the way, guys, I will be doing videos on all the other F1 vehicles, including the RB13 as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. But nonetheless, though, doing a top speed test on the Disruption Edition, I have found some of this to be pretty interesting, guys, because this car also does around 299, similar to the Mark II as well. You can sometimes hit like 300, depending on where you might be on the road, but I would say the actual top speed is probably going to be like 298 to 299, so these F1 cars are definitely going to be insanely fast, and I would say they're going to be very good options on escapes, mainly because you also can do around 300 miles per hour, but also handle on a dime, so that's always going to be a great thing to have on a car, especially for an escape. Now, I have been noticing with some of these F1 vehicles that they all actually do around 300 now. I will be testing them out more, but I did find this with the Mark X, which before I do remember that car doing like maybe 270 or so, so I do find it pretty interesting that they also made the top speed of these vehicles a bit better as well, which is definitely going to stir things up in this class with the Expo being like the best car before. I'm definitely going to say that's probably going to change now. Now, one thing I do have to admit though, I really don't know if these cars are actually going to take the place of the regular RB14. Now, the main reason why I say that is due to the fact that the RB14 was so dang good after that one handling update that I feel like a lot of people might not actually try out some of these other vehicles like the Disruption Edition, which is probably going to basically be like the exact same car with like a different livery and or some different tire setups as well. I did notice though that both of these cars do handle a tad differently, but overall, they're basically going to have the exact same top speed, so I would say they're going to be very similar. And if you guys basically had to use the Disruption Edition over like the RB14, I would say you're probably not going to regret picking this vehicle for any way because I did not really find that many faults with it. I actually found this thing to handle very similarly to the regular RB14, so I would say both of these cars really aren't going to be all that different. Mostly by their looks, I would say is the biggest key difference. When using the Disruption Edition, I did notice a few things when driving this car on the track. So the first thing, guys, I feel like these cars really are going to feel so much better than they did before. It's actually kind of insane how much different like a handling update can do with some of these vehicles. I really do feel like if some of the other cars in like the street class and or the hypercar category got this, I feel like it would greatly increase the variety of cars being used and also how many cars you'll probably see in summits. I really do think seeing like the same 2 or 3 vehicles in each class probably get kind of annoying. I also did notice this with the F1 class as well and or the Alpha GP class, which is technically the same thing, but I was noticing basically only the KTM Expo being used for basically a really long time. I saw some of the other F1 vehicles occasionally being used, but honestly it wasn't that often. And then once the RB14 got updated, I basically only saw that car being used. So after we now have this new handling update, guys, with all the other F1 cars being updated, I would say we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of these cars being used. I will definitely be trying them out in different summits to really see how they're going to be different than some of the other ones. I really do think that's going to be needed. Overall though, the RB14 is still going to be an insanely good vehicle. Despite the regular RB14 still being insanely good, I would definitely recommend trying out this car, guys, if you have not, because my goodness, it's definitely going to be a lot better. The handling and stability is by far going to be improved, so for longer events and or racing in general, I would even say Escape's car is going to be a lot better than it was. Plus, it's also going to have a high top speed similar to the other F1 cars now, but let me know what you guys think about the RB14 Disruption Edition in the comments below, and here are the settings I'm currently running on this vehicle.